Let's go, Rider Nation.
I'm ready. I'm ready. Yeah, here we go. It's a feeling now. Hit 'em high, hit 'em low, 'cause we're dealing now. Everybody's giving it all they got, 'cause we're ready.
This is the Piffles Podcast, your Saskatchewan Roughriders fan podcast. Thanks for joining us here this week, wherever you get the show, listening on your favorite podcast platform, watching on YouTube, or SaskTel Max TV on demand. We appreciate it. As always, you got me. I'm Alex.
I'm Steve.
And it's been a long day, guys. I am exhausted. Carry the sports cage now. Luckily, we got some help to carry you two this episode because I'm exhausted.
You can only do so much, hey, Greg? 3 hours a year max?
3 hours and whatever we do here. So I might just relax and let you guys handle it.
Well, best show ever.
Well, luckily we got some help this week. Our guest coming up in just a minute here. Piffles Podcast, of course, is brought to you by Dairy Queen on Elphinstone Street and Sask Drive in Regina. We're also proud to be sponsored by Kathy Festian of Royal LePage Next Level, Churchill Brewing Company, District 306, Regina's tactical laser tag experience, Bigfoot Vodka, and Creasy's Premium Home Leisure Jacuzzi Spas. No game last week, so not a lot to talk about in terms of recapping a game, but that's why we're bringing on a guest. One of my favorite guys. He was on my list last week when we did our favorite riders of the last 25 years. He was my right tackle, and he's on the show this week. Belton Johnson coming up. This is the opening kickoff. Belton Johnson, Grey Cup champion with the Riders, Rider alum. You hear him on the Green Zone pre- and post-game show every week. Belton, how you doing, man?
I'm doing good. How you fellas doing today?
Excellent. Always good when we're talking football.
Oh, I'm with you. What's better than football than right now, right? We got CFL going. We got some, my brother, I know he's at Ohio State right now. They got a little break, but, college football will be coming up soon, and I can't have enough of it, I don't think.
You got any trips to college games this year coming up?
Actually, I do. We'll probably be booking either for end of August or November, start of November, because Ohio State, they play Texas. That's the home opener there, right? So, or the November game, they play Penn State, which is, Ohio State, Penn State, good rival, right?
Those are big games.
You better be careful with that beginning of November game. You're going to be needed for the West Final post game.
Well, and see, that's what I'm. I think I'm playing with fire a little bit, just Steve. Right? I tried to look at the schedule, because with the Riders, I got them going to the Grey Cup and winning the whole thing, right? To be honest with you, and so I'm basing it off of that. Maybe they'll have a bye. I don't know. We'll see.
Sure, hoping so. That game here instead of in Winnipeg would be a big difference.
Mm-hmm.
And for the record, it's the Ohio State. Make sure you say it properly when you go down there.
Yeah, because they might jump me down there if I don't say it right.
Marcus will read you the rights there, right?
Oh, he will, man.
Well, Belton, we brought you on to talk Riders. Riders are 4-0, last unbeaten team in the league. What's your thoughts on what you've seen from the team so far?
I've been impressed, to say the least, right? From the head coach. Well, I'll even go higher than that. They, bringing talent in and everything. Coach Mace, the players, they got depth, fellas, and I always had to look back at last season. They went through a little bit of growing pains, some injuries and everything, right? But I honestly think that's built the depth for this season, because when you have those guys like last year, second, third stringers playing, well, now you fast forward now. Well, if those guys do go into a game, I'm confident in them. I'm confident for the right all the way down to that third stringers this year. And I do believe that some of those guys on the team, the second, third stringers, they could probably be starters on some of these other teams, to be honest with you. That's how well built this team is right now.
Well, you look at the being well built, that offensive line with Coach Edwin Harris, and they're rolling through guys, not as bad as last year yet, but there's still been some major injuries there. As a former offensive lineman, what are you seeing?
Yeah, I believe the center, and I forget his name, McEwen,
Gagnon.
I believe. Or yeah, and
yeah.
McEwen,
McEwen,
and
yeah.
so
Gagnon.
and so they're already getting tested, and everything that I've seen so far, I mean, you can't even tell nobody's hurt, to be honest with you, because they're playing so well. You look at the run game and everything, right? Like I mean, I don't even know what the average is, but I would bet $100 it's over 5 yards or average for sure, right? And even with the quarterback Stevens, when he's running the ball, he's getting big yardage. Olette's getting big yardage. Carey's gonna get it. So the O line, they done a heck of a job, and got to credit Harrison there, right? The O line coach, just because I couldn't imagine, getting a guy coming in from the States or something, and you got to train him up. You got to, watch film and technique and all this stuff. Well, he's built something pretty darn solid. Again, starting last year, right up to this point. And, Hardrick, I think he's a cornerstone piece, the right tackle there. I honestly think he's the heart of that O-line, right? Just the energy he brings. And, when you talk about the run game, you cannot forget the receivers either, fellas, because whenever AJ, I've seen him run a 20-yarder, seen him, hurdling people. Well, when he's getting 20-plus yards, or who is ever back there getting 20 plus, it's the receivers that are blocking downfield to make that happen, right?
What is it about this run blocking that is so much different from what we saw last year? Because that was their biggest weakness, was the inability to run the ball. What have they changed, or what have you seen that maybe's changed?
I honestly, Steve, I think it's a healthy AJ Ouellette. I even think back last season, right? Like, he'd run and everything, and maybe because he lost a little bit of weight, right? Because I swear he looks fast. Like, whenever it's like he's shooting out of a cannon or something, the way he's just running downhill. And I love the contact. He's not dodging. He wants the contact and everything, right? So I do think it's just a healthier Ouellette. And again, Hardrick, he's healthy, he's back, and the starting five that they got, they've been together here for a while now, right? Like we're 4 games in, and I think they even came up a couple weeks, maybe a week or something before actual camp. So just that, especially with O-line, because I coach, my son's RMF team, fellas. I got my O-lines running heels right now. Like every Saturdays, we're running heels, and the thing is, it's not so. Like I told my son, like I don't want to kill you guys, right? I just, let's get some movement and stuff. But my thing is just bringing those guys together, just to start creating that chemistry and everything, right? And they're gelling, they're getting to know each other. And again, same with the Riders O-line. I think, with them coming again, this is what I heard. I think they came in a week before. Just that little time spending together and everything. And I think this is what the results you're seeing right now from them.
What about left tackle Daniel Johnson, who was on the Riders practice roster last year, just drafted last year, kind of gets thrown in as a starter this year? How difficult is that for a young guy to just kind of get thrown in and one at left tackle, but then also have the success that he's shown these first few games?
Well, and left tackle, that's that's the blind side, right? That's the most important protection piece of the O-line, is that left tackle. And I just think about the Riders. there was a great left tackle when I played, Geno Mikowski, right? And I'm not saying Johnson is that good or anything, but he is a solid left tackle. The run blocking, the pass blocking. I watched that O line real close, and I don't see a weakness in him at all. And he's strong, he's quick, got really good feet, he can move. I will say, my brother, he also coached at Purdue. He told me all about this kid. Just the tenacity and just the energy he brought, the strength to his O line there in college. And when my brother found out he was here, he reached out to him and everything, and just wished him good luck, because my brother just told me he is a solid player, man. Y'all got a gem in him.
So obviously Johnson's a big part of the pass protection. What are we seeing this year that's keeping Trevor Harris and Jake Maier basically upright this season so well?
Well, let's start with Trevor Harris first. Trevor Harris is 1, 2, 3, ball is gone. That's Trevor doesn't hold on to the ball very long, which as an old lineman, I'm loving that. Like, just to know I don't have to hold on to a block for 6, 7 seconds or something, right? And even with the O line, even the short passes, right? It's everybody's still in sync. You don't see a whole lot of breakdowns or anything, right? And it's just, I think it's the punches from the start of the line, just the O line punching. And I mean, they got a pretty good group in there. That O line, start with the center, Furlan, right? Like I know I said Jamarcus Harger, but Furlan, he can hold his own weight too, right? And I always said I would never want to play center ever, because one, you just have to know so much and snap the ball. I can't do both at the same time.
I could do one or the other, but I can't do both.
That's right, man. But again, just with Trevor Harris, the short passes that does make it a lot easier for the O line and everything. And with Jake Maier, I think we did see a little bit of leakage, just a little bit, right? It wasn't nothing too major, but when you have a quarterback that holds the ball a little longer, because I do think Jake Maier is the one who he wants to strike quick, he wants to strike now, he wants to go deep. I even think about that pass to Robustelli on the sideline there, a couple weeks ago now. I know he wished he had that back, because that would have been I call it a home run hit, right?
Oh,
like,
100%.
because it was wide open, and I was teed off, because I'm like, the protection was solid. The O line had to hold up at least 5, 6 seconds there, right? And he just just a little to the outside, right? Because if he had it back, I'm sure that would have been just a walk-off home run there when he threw it down the field there.
Now, you mentioned Jake Maier, and we got to bring this up. After what we saw last game from Jake Maier, if the Riders have to go to him long-term, and that is always a concern in Rider Nation right now, are the Riders going to be okay?
Oh, Steve. Oh. Are they going to be okay? I do feel like he did enough, right, to not lose the game, right? He didn't have a turnover or anything. Yes, I would have liked to see better completion percentage. I mean, you look at Trevor Harris, I think he's in that, 73 range, 73%, somewhere in there. Like, quarterback got to complete the passes. So I do think if you give him time, because he's had, 45, 46 starts now, I think, or somewhere in that range. And so I know he could do it. It's just he needs to knock a little rust off or something, I think. Even the chemistry might not be the same, as a first stringer, second stringer, because as a second stringer, you're not getting near the reps the first stringer is getting, right? So, and again, the Rider defense, like, my God, they got a good defense. And if you got a good defense, and if even with Jake Merritt, they got a run game, right? They ran the ball. That's how they won that game. The week before there is running the ball, right? Jake Merritt just really had to not throw an interception or anything, turn the ball over, right? And could they do it? I think they could, and if you give him enough time in there, I think he would get better and better each game.
I'm curious. You mentioned the defense. Your
Mhm.
thoughts on the other side, on those in the trenches, the D line specifically. They seem to be getting a decent amount of pressure, but the sacks aren't coming in droves like they used to in previous years. What are your thoughts on the Riders D line so far?
What I think they rotate like 9 guys or something
8 or
like that,
9,
right?
yeah.
So they're fresh. They're moving. As an offensive lineman, I always hated when a fresh guy came in, right? Because this other guy comes in, boom, it's like the energy level is over the top, whereas I'm like huffing and puffing. And I'm not sure why they aren't getting the sacks that they've gotten, last year and everything, but they are getting a little bit of pressure and everything, right? I think they got a handful of interceptions so far on the season. And, I think that's how you get interceptions. You get pressure on the quarterback, right? And they're doing their job. They're containing. The only thing I really worry about is the back end a little bit sometimes, or maybe it's Mace's scheme, right? I call it, Ben, the Ben defense. 'Cause it just, I don't know. It just looked like there's chunks of yards every time, right? But admittedly, they played a lot better the last game defensively, I thought, compared to the first 2 or 3 games.
Do you find because you were here playing for the Riders when Richie Hall was the defensive coordinator?
Oh yeah.
Do you find that defense now is similar to what Richie ran? Because he ran a pretty big, bend but don't break defense and limited to teams to field goals and relied on those turnovers. Is it similar?
I would say is it similar? In that sense, the bend, kind of don't break. I would say so, right? Because they don't allow a whole lot of touchdowns, right? It's been field goals and everything, or they put you in 3rd and long, and they flip the field position, which the Riders have had great field position, right? And would I hesitate Mario Alford getting the ball right now? Not at all, fellas. Like, just flipping that field, because that's the one thing I think people tend to forget in the CFL, any league, right? If you could flip the field position as an offensive lineman, I love going out on the short field. If it was 50 yards and in, I was happy because I didn't have to go, 100 yards, 90-yard drives and everything, right? Give me that 50 range. I'm happy because I know if I got a good kicker, only thing Belton got to get is about 30 yards. And if we don't get a touchdown, I'm usually happy with a field goal if I got a good kicker.
I know you're a guy who has his opinions on kickers.
They're not people.
Greg is a guy who has opinions on kickers too, I guess. Obviously, we saw Brett Lawther have that 5-for-5 game last game bounce back. I got to get your take because just on kickers, you brought it up. I got to get your take on kickers.
I love them when they do good. I'm not gonna lie to you. Right? It's what have you done for me lately? And I've said, my thing with kickers is it goes back to even college, right? Like, O-line, they're busting their butts, working hard. Not saying kickers don't work hard, but sometimes I look down at the other end of the field and they're just playing catch and look like they're having a great time. Whereas I'm out here, I got a bloody elbow, a bloody fist, and fighting. They're just like, what are you guys doing, man? What do you do all day, right? But the trust in the kicker is huge, I think, for a team, right? So when Brett Lowther, when he went through a slump there, like, to me, that's when doubt creeps in the head for anybody on that team, right? Like, man, is he gonna hit it? Like, it's just iffy, right? But again, when he's 5 for 5 and doing his thing, man, he could go out there, kick a 56 yard, and I'm thinking he's gonna hit it, right? So, that's my relationship with kickers is do your job, make the kick.
Fortunately, going into the bye week, obviously Lothar worked out his kinks. Big story going in the bye week was penalties. Riders are averaging almost 110 yards per game in penalties, worst in the league. What do they got to do to clean that up?
Oh man, if it was me, just coach, if you run me, I'm done. Right? I won't even commit that penalty again. But I think just focus, right? I looked at some of those penalties. Last game, I think it was maybe the Argos or something. But for a defensive end to jump offside or like just watch the ball, right? Like, and you can see the frustration on some of the guys. Micah for sure, like, it's just you can just read the expression out there, right? But it's just focusing and locking in. To be honest with you, and again, I think it was the Toronto game where they just, but that was. I never seen nothing like that. 29 penalties in total, I think, for over 300 yards. And I know how I am with when I'm coaching my kids, RMF. Oh man, I make them do push-ups on the spot or do something because as a coach, it's got to frustrate you, when a dumb penalty, right? Like you can't have it. It will hurt you. It can come back and bite you in the rear end because I'm just looking at the Stampeders right now, right? Like when you play a good team, it could come back and haunt you, and it almost did that Argos game, I think.
So then, if you're the coach, sorry, Steve, but if you're the coach of this team, what are you saying in the locker room then? Like, does it come down to threatening playtime?
You know what? And I'm not. I can't see Mace doing that. To be honest with you, right? Like, because he's built a great culture, accountability and all this stuff, right? So for him, I think it's probably a look or he says something, and they're gonna get their act together, right? I really just believe that, and I'm sure. I just would think there would be some type of punishment. I've never been on a team where there hasn't been some type of punishment for getting penalties.
Now, I do have to ask, we've got a co-host here, Greg, who is a huge Eli Manning fan.
He knows that's a lie.
You were his you were his left tackle at Ole Miss. Do you have any good Eli Manning stories from your college days?
I'll give you I think it's a good one. I remember what we were playing the Egg Bowl there around American Thanksgiving, played Mississippi State and Eli, like he was having a good game and he threw an interception, right? And so O-line, I just hate intercept when a quarterback throws the interception. One, I got to chase, right? So, and the other thing is the defensive players, defensive linemen, they're looking to get a kill shot on anybody, right?
Yep.
So, and I can't remember the player who picked off Eli, but I'm running, I'm chasing, trying to make a tackle, and I get blindsided by a defensive lineman. And when I say blindsided, I'm pretty sure I flipped in the air like one of those bloopers or something, and I think I was concussed for, like 20, 30 seconds or something. But when I got my bearings, I went to the sideline. Eli said, I'm never chasing out another interception. You better not go away, Eli. That's on you, man. You take that shot.
Was Eli a goof in college, kind of the same way that like we see him now, post retirement?
Yeah, and the thing with Eli, I think a lot of people he's always seen as quiet and easygoing because we always call him Easy E, right? He was just chill, laid back, and everything. But he did have his jokes and everything in the locker room, and you think he wouldn't do something, and yeah, it was Eli. You go into the shower, you come out or something, your clothes are thrown in the garbage or something. It's like, who is it? And Eli sitting in a corner, just like you just wouldn't suspect them to do something, right? And guess who it was? It was Eli every time.
One of the greatest heroes in football history, I must say, Eli
No.
Manning. Greg will
No.
agree with me on that.
No, I will not.
Being the New England Patriots fan.
1 second.
There you go.
Belton, you already said you see the Riders winning it all this year.
Mhm.
How do they get there? How does it shake down for the team the rest of the way?
Well, and how for me it started last year, right? They built a great foundation, everything, coaches, the players, and they only added to their depth and everything right now, and they're relying on that depth already early this season, doing a pretty solid job. And some of the other teams, I keep trying to figure out who are going to be the tough opponents, right? And it's so hard to tell early on in the season. But the Riders so far, they figured out ways to win games, right? Like I think what the first 3 games, I think they got scored on first and everything, right? And it's like, oh man, and then all of a sudden they get a lead, and then they slumber down a little bit again, and it's like we still haven't seen that complete game from them yet, and I'm just waiting for it to happen because I think once that happens, I think they're finding their identity on offense. They can run the ball. Like on defense, they've done a great job last year. They're doing a great job this year stopping the run, right? Like it's hard to run the ball on the Riders. I think last year they had with that one fluke game against the Elks, if I remember right, where it's like, whoa, like that's not the Rider way, right? And this year they've done a really good job, whether it's rotating that defensive line, just keeping those guys fresh and, them having their gap responsibilities. They're doing a great job with that. And I don't know. Just Mace himself, like I don't know, he exudes that confidence, that aura. He has it, man. Like he has their attention. I hear the players say some of the things that he'll say during press conferences and everything. And I don't know, once you buy into what the coach is saying, that goes a long ways, fellas. I think what '07 Coach Alston, right? Like when I say we would run through a brick wall for that man, every guy on that team would. It was like a family, atmosphere. Like the O line, D line, we all got along. We went out to, chicken wings and pizza, and I sense that from this team too, right? I feel like they hang out and everything together, and I think their families are, involved. I know Hardger kids, wife and kids are here right now, I think, and I just think, Coach Mace has built that environment, and it honestly reminds me of '07, just that family vibe. And if a player could go to work and know his family's welcome, then he's playing for the guy next to him. That's what I see. I don't know why. I couldn't tell you, but that's what I see.
So when you're last one for you here, Belton, when you're a good team, like the Riders are a good team, and obviously you were on that '07 Grey Cup team,
Mm-hmm.
You're good, but when do you realize that, you know what, we really are the team to beat? We are championship material? Because did it take a while for that to happen in '07? Same way that it might happen this year? Like, are they still trying to figure that out?
I think they're still trying to figure it out a little bit. And again, once they have that big game, like where they just shut down the other team and they just score points where they're in full control, it's no, looking back or anything. That's when I think they'll have it. And I'm willing to bet within about, because we're 4 games in, because it always takes the offense, probably about 4 games in to kind of click and gel. So I'm willing to bet probably within the next couple games here, they're going to be roaring here real loud.
I know Alex said one more, but I got to follow that up. When did you
Mhm.
guys know in 07? Because I know the fans all have their theories, because everyone remembers that year. It was the blackout game, Labor
Right.
Day.
AJ's run, yeah.
Yeah, like what where was it that you guys knew?
Oh man, I feel like it would have been about halfway through, probably like right around that Labor Day, man. Like, and when you take control, it just, I don't know, you just see the stars line up, and you're destined to go all the way. And and again, I know there's some good teams out there, right? Like, Montreal, I think they're good, but when I seen the Stampeders, what they did to them, I'm like, oh man, like, okay, well, now the Stamps, they're looking good right now, right? Because they beat a bona fide team. And when it comes to this weekend here, because I think we all know Vernon Adams, he could have up and down games, right? He could throw 6 interceptions or he could throw 6 touchdowns, right? And I don't know. I just think with Coach Mace, he has these guys playing at such a level that, I thought they would have lost out in Toronto. That's when I had predicted them to get, the first loss. Right now, I'm not even sure, to be honest with you, because they do find ways to win.
Well, the Riders have the Stamps this upcoming Friday, and we'll hear you on the pre and post game show on the Green Zone. Can you give us a little hint? What are you cooking up for game day?
Oh yeah. Oh, I got them ready to go off right now. Bacon wrapped chicken lollipops. You know what that is on the grid?
Yeah, I'll be swinging by. That's my lord.
You had me at bacon wrapped. There's
Bacon?
nothing I won't eat that's wrapped in bacon.
Well,
you
hopefully
fellas,
it's
I
nice
think y'all
weather.
know
I'll get outside and serve that on Sass Drive. Okay, I'll swing by, get the tent out there, get the shade right, and let's get those things going.
Oh, we're gonna get them going, Alex.
Belton, thanks so much for your time, man. Really appreciate it, and we'll listen to you on the radio on Friday.
Hey, appreciate it, fellas, and I love what you guys have done here with Piffles Podcast. Keep up the great job.
Belton Johnson, Grey Cup champion here with the Riders. Talking about the Riders 4-0 start. Man, I love having Belton on. It's been a long time since we've had Belton on.
Well, Belton and I are in the
Always
same
too long.
Yeah, Belton and I are in the same fantasy football group, so I see him every year, and I love just throttling the crap out of him when we go head to head. And he dropped out before I said that, so he hopefully hears that, and then he and I can go at it again next year. So,
Love Belton. Just a great dude. Super, super nice person. Obviously, when I was working with the Green Zone, I dealt with him all the time, and man, he was the best then. He's the best now. I love Belton.
no, we should ask him when he's going to be an alumnus of distinction for the Ticats.
Should have probably got it before Tommy Chang.
He got it 4 times before Tommy Chang. My goodness.
Timmy Chang?
Sorry, Timmy Chang. Yeah, Tommy.
What did I say?
No, I
You
said
said
Tommy
Tommy.
Chang.
That's how
I don't know.
memorable he is.
Someone said Tommy. Anyway.
It's been that kind of a day. One more thing here on the opening kickoff, I do want to mention, and I want to give a shout out to a certain person at the Rider store. So I went on this past Saturday. I went to the signing when it was Jamarcus Hardrick, Roland Milligan, and Sam Emelis there. You can see the new Canada hat, the shirt. Went there. Special shout out to Kala at the Rider store. Helped me with the purchase. Just fantastic customer service. Every time I've gone in there, and yes, I know I complain about the prices, But their staff is second to none. They have fantastic staff at the Rider store. Their customer service is second to none. They really, really do care about the customers there on a personal level. So you can see that in every single employee there. Calla was the one that helped me out. Just want to give a shout out because that doesn't get done often enough. So I think we should give them some kudos for just being great.
Well,
Customer service and retail work is like the most thankless job. So to get a bit of a shout out, well deserved. I've never had a bad experience inside that store, other than the bill at the end. But
well, that's exactly what I was saying.
staff.
It doesn't matter if it's the Rider store, ticket office, even the people along the concourse during the games. That is always good, volunteer or paid. It's the other things that come with purchasing something from this franchise that we love.
But we also know that's not the retail people's fault or the volunteers.
By no means.
You know, they don't set prices, right? So,
No.
but they do a great job. So shout out Calla. Well, that's the opening kickoff presented by Kathy Festian of Roy LePage Next Level. Let's get to Remember That Guy, sponsored by District 306, Regina's tactical laser tag experience. Greg, we've done this for, I think it's 12 now.
It's been
That's
a couple.
really some interesting names, some names that I didn't think would show up just because I thought they were too obvious when they turns out they aren't.
Got to keep after that first one. I was like, well, maybe I'm doing this too hard, so I got to scale it back a bit. So help me God, you ever get one on first clue again? I quit.
You mean when we get another one on the first clue?
No, you won't. I'm not worried about you.
Hey, I'm pretty sure I've got a higher percentage than Alex over the course of this.
You couldn't even get the one where I quoted you.
Oh, that one hurt. That one's gonna haunt me forever.
How many Van Stones is this?
4?
Ooh,
I'm out.
okay. I like it.
I'm just gonna leave this one to you, Alex.
Okay, well, let's Greg, let's remember that guy.
Saskatchewan ties as both a Husky and a 2-time rider. Beat Stanford at the Liberty Bowl. There's your curveball. 3rd overall in the inaugural XFL draft.
Oh, no.
During his playing career, signed with Edmonton, KC, Scotland, Green Bay, Memphis, and Calgary. 2-time Grey Cup champion.
Is it Marcus Crandall?
It is Marcus Crandall.
Memphis Maniacs.
Yes, it is.
That's what got it for me.
Yeah.
I couldn't get past the Huskies. I was thinking U of S Huskies, and
It is U of S Huskies. He was a coach there.
Yeah.
And technically, the second time he was a rider was as a coach, not as a player.
Yeah.
Career touchdowns 92, interceptions 94, but 18,454 passing yards, and he backed up Nealon Green on 2 different teams.
Yikes!
That might be the more incredible stat out of anything out of Marcus Crandall's career.
The players that backed up Nealon Green, there's Hall of Famers actually that backed up Nealon Green in this league. It's ridiculous.
Well, hell, Henry Burris turned teams around. He backed up Nealon Green, didn't he?
He did. Kevin Glenn, Marcus Crandall.
His name's Kerbopple. I've been
That's
calling
a
him
lot
Crandall.
of talent that never got to see the field because.
Marcus Crandall's time as a rider. Best known maybe for, I mean, obviously he was the backup in 07 to Kerry Joseph.
Yep.
The almost better known for 2008 where he was the starter, started 6-0.
And then they traded for Bishop.
And then got hurt. I think it was ribs. I think it was a rib injury that had him out.
I believe so, yeah. And then they
then
traded for
Durant
Bishop and he was done.
Yeah, and then Bishop. But without that injury to Marcus Crandall, we may never get the Darian Durant era.
I agree.
Because that 2008 team at 6-0, obviously, regardless of what kind of stats your quarterback is putting up, you're not changing your quarterback when you're 6-0. Who knows how that season could have gone if he stayed healthy. let's say they had a home playoff game in 08, still finished 12-6, right?
Yeah, don't remind me about that home playoff game.
That might have been the one, like the game I was most mad at in my entire fandom.
It definitely was for me. Like
that game pissed me off so much.
I was
so mad that game.
I will never, like I said, I will never forget, because I was actually sitting on the shaded side for the first time in a very long time. So I had a good view of the bench, and when he threw that last interception, a defensive lineman flipped the training table. Like I said, Durant, until he won the 2013 Grey Cup, got his biggest ovation when they pulled Bishop that game.
Yeah.
Like, it literally goes Grey Cup, 08 playoff game where Bishop got pulled. That was like that's the cheering for Darian Durant levels. Oh, Marcus Crandall.
Have to say Marcus Crandall has a big piece of Rider history just based off that injury in 2008. Set the team up for the next 6-7 years with Darian Durant as the starter. So
the good news is at least he's got like a Grey Cup to play off that. Like Drew Bledsoe, as decent a quarterback he was, and going back to the Patriots, his biggest claim to fame, one of his biggest claim to fame is he was the guy before Tom Brady, because he got hurt. Like, it's just, it sucks, but that's unfortunately the way football works. They move on to the guy that's the next guy who's going to play, right?
And here I thought you were going to have Marcus Crandall a couple of weeks ago when he was had his one day retirement, officially retiring 17 years after taking his final snap or whatever it was, signing with the Stamps. I thought you were going to do it that week.
No, I got it. I can't make it too obvious.
Marcus Crandall on Remember That Guy, sponsored by District 306, Regina's tactical laser tag experience. Speaking of District 306, they are help bringing us the Banjo Bowl bus trip, also with Engelheim Tours and Creasy's Premium Home Leisure. Bus, over 60% sold. We need to have numbers by August 1st. So if you are on the fence about it, you want to go to Winnipeg for the Banjo Bowl. The Riders should have won it last year. Haven't won it in a while. They're going to win it this year. You're going to want to go. 2-night trip, $450 get you to and from Winnipeg, and obviously from the hotel to the game and back. Hotel for 2 nights, game ticket, tons of prizes on there, including a fully customized Rider jersey of your choice. If you want to go, let us know. I'm trying to think of another rhyme there. Didn't come up. I was thinking
There won't be snow?
Or there'll be snow. You never know.
You never know.
There's like a Billy Madison.
Yeah, these rhymes, they blow.
Accurate. Anyway, email us, pifflespodcast@gmail.com. You know where we are on social. We're easy to find, Piffles Podcast. Send us a message if you haven't any questions, want to know more about it. We'd be happy to have you on. Let's get this thing sold out and have one hell of a trip to Winnipeg.
And there's Red Barn on the way home.
Red Barn on the way home. We'll stop somewhere for lunch, probably in Brandon on the way there. It's a couple spots on the highway there. And we'll pick you up anywhere on the number 1, as long as you're somewhere in between Regina and Winnipeg.
Just stop at Red Barn. That should sell out the rest.
That's an easy stop.
Red Barn. All right, well, let's get to our Churchill Brewing Company odds and end zones. Really quickly, the June honor roll was put out last week, of course, after we do our show. Sam Emelis was the highest graded receiver.
How many games did he play?
For his 2 games.
Yeah.
Hey, when you're really good for one of them, that's all that matters.
AJ Ouellette was the highest rated running back, which shouldn't be a surprise just with him leading the league in rushing. Jamarcus Hardrick as the top rated offensive line, and the Riders offensive line unit was the best O-line unit. I mean, they won the honor roll 3 out of 4 times, I think.
That one was obvious. Yeah.
During that. So, I mean, just going back to what Belton was talking about, this O-line, their coach Edwin Harrison is just doing a marvelous job. We'll do the neg list stuff. This will be hopefully maybe quick.
Do we have to?
We won't go. We're not going to. Sorry, Glenn. We're not going to do 45 names. We're not going to.
She's Claypool here next week. I'm telling you right now. No.
The CFL announced last week that they're going to publish and update the full negotiation list. You can find them on the CFL's website. Just a couple things that I took out of it. The Riders have 13 quarterbacks on that list out of 45, so it's very clear they're trying to find
The next one.
And yet they have Trey Lance on the list.
I understand Trey Lance is a punchline, and believe me, he's a Dallas Cowboy, so he is a punchline. But the fact remains is I don't hate that. Like this isn't like Vince Young coming here. I think he's got the skills to play in this league.
I mean, no, Vince Young was at the end of it, well, past the end of his career at that point. At least Trey Lance is in his prime, but well, as much a prime as Trey Lance has. But they're yeah.
One of the quarterback names that stuck out to me though was and I had it here. Why can't I think of his name off the top of my head? Alex McGough.
Yes.
From the Birmingham Stallions of the UFL. Was with what was it, the XFL before they merged with the USFL. But first couple of years that he played, he was the starting quarterback for the team. They didn't quite go undefeated, but won back-to-back seasons, the championship, and looked pretty good doing it. So that was one of those names that I'm like, I recognize that name. Okay, let's see where it goes. I wouldn't be opposed to someone like that coming up here. Do I think he could be a great CFL quarterback? I'm not sure he has the mobility, but I mean, Trevor Harris doesn't have great mobility, and he's been a pretty solid CFL quarterback in his career. So
I love Trevor Harris, but he makes Tom Brady look fast.
It's no Eli Manning, though.
Yeah, no. But you look at, like, there's Kellen Mond on here, also a UFL quarterback with the Brahmas. San Antonio? Yeah.
San Antonio.
And they didn't have a good season, so it's... I think the nice thing about this list is you don't know. Like, we could open this list tomorrow, and Mond and McGough might be gone. And Zach Zabrowski could be on here forever. You never know with the negotiation list. And that was always the thing. You never knew who was on the negotiation list.
I hope that Zach Zabrowski never comes up here. He's quarterback from Central Missouri, and here's why. Because he's from Central Missouri. There's only room in my heart for one Central Missouri mule, and that's Dennis Guile. Although if he did, I'd have to get his jersey. So
you would have to.
I would have to.
I'm going to say the one name that does stand out to me, and this is going to be just as much a homer pick as yours was an anti-homer pick.
Is there Central Florida here?
It is, and it's actually a legitimate reason this time. It's not just because he plays Central Florida or for Central Florida. John Reese Plumlee was the quarterback for the UCF Knights, and if you watch him and watch that team in general from that 2022-2023 season, his mobility up in the CFL would be fun to watch. That team was built around a running game, and he was a machine. I think he ended up somewhere around 1,000 yards rushing as a quarterback. I'm looking, it was 862 yards, 11 touchdowns as a quarterback for UCF. He's a guy I would love to see in the Canadian game, whether it's here or somewhere else.
Well, no wonder you love Chris Trevler. Then you like those Russian quarterbacks.
But shut up.
You can't see his one hand, or it's
yeah, it's off the
that
screen.
finger is.
Honestly,
a family-friendly show.
One of the names that really piqued my interest is Sebastian Gutierrez from Minot State. He's on the 49ers practice roster right now. He's an offensive lineman, big dude. I think with the offensive lineman that you're running through, he might be someone that could be looking for a place to play because he's been in the league for 3 seasons now, and basically PR let go. He got some live fire last year, so I think if they can get him in here, he could be a very good addition to the offensive line.
One guy I do want to see up here, just for the all-name team, would be running back Xavier Valade.
Good handle.
But the one other thing that stuck out to me on this list, and this will be the last thing before we kind of wrap it up and move on here, was the one punter they had on the list, a guy named Andrew Stokes out of South Florida. So I looked them up.
Terrible Florida school.
why would they have an American kicker or punter on their neg list? That makes no sense to me. Turns out he's actually an Aussie, so that makes sense. He's 30 years old and still kicking in college. So he didn't start with South Florida until, we'll say, late in his career.
So what you're telling me, he was a former Aussie rules guy that
Basically.
they brought in as basically as a walk-on punter, and he's
accolades that this guy is getting from there. I read an article about him. It was actually pretty crazy how much they love him there. Average is only 41 yards a punt.
Thursday. But he's probably doing that oddball Aussie rules style that Bartel made famous here.
Probably. But I mean, we talked last week about the placements of kicks with Joe Couch. So directional kicking, if that's what's going on there, then average doesn't really speak all the volumes. But anyway, Riders.
Sorry, I have to ask, how do you have an all-name team and not include Sheldrick red wine?
I'm not a wine drinker.
Fair enough.
Churchill Brewing Company, boys. Okay, Greg, now's your time to shine. I know you've been waiting a full week to talk about this. Shawn Lemon can apply for reinstatement into the CFL now following his 1-year suspension for betting on games. Greg, take it away.
Bet on yourself, people. Why?
Be able to?
No. Like, this is... We've covered this so many times, it's not even funny. We covered it when it happened. We covered it when people were comparing Chad Kelly to what Shawn Lemon did. This is the integrity of the game. I don't care if it's $1, $100, $1,000, $10,000. I don't care. You bet on a game you play in. It is wrong. To bet on the league you play in is wrong. Because let's face it, everyone knows everybody. All these guys still talk. Everyone knows what's happening. Everyone knows what's happening inside. Exactly. You do this in the stock market. It is insider trading. It's illegal. So I don't care if he bet on himself to get 4 sacks that game. Don't care. Believe in yourself. It doesn't mean you need to make extra money off of it. And once again, I said we live in the world post Pete Rose. Everyone knows it's wrong. And I don't care if Pete Rose got reinstated post I can't even say that, after his death. It's still not right. It's still an integrity of the game problem. And the fact that there is, and I understand, I'm a sports bettor. That's fine. That's different for me than a guy that's playing the game. When you got guys throwing in the NBA, throwing shots or faking injuries to hit their under and getting kicked out of the league for it, that's your canary in the coal mine right there. This is ridiculous.
Well, I'm laughing as we're watching Major League Baseball and the Cleveland Guardians suspend a pitcher for quite possibly the most obvious, what would you call it?
Fixing?
Yeah, fixing of a pitch. People threw a bunch of money on him throwing a ball on the first pitch of an inning, and the ball hit the dirt like 10 feet in front of the plate. Like, you're seeing other leagues handle this properly. And for some reason, the CFL, yet again, can't get out of their own way and are allowing, even the idea of allowing an appeal is laughable to me. You bet on a game that you were involved in. That is it. That is the end. There is no coming back from that.
But here's the thing, though. It's not even an appeal. He failed his appeal. They went to an arbitrator for the appeal. He's applying if he wants to. He has, as far as I know, he hasn't yet. He can apply for reinstatement. And
that's
the difference is Randy Ambrosi, despite anyone's complaints about him, he was a hard no. Like, there's few things that got Randy fired up. This was one of them.
Did that on this show.
Yeah. Stuart Johnson, new commissioner, I don't know where he's going to land. I really don't know.
And if you watch TSN and how hard they push sports betting, that is a legitimate concern. Because if you watch any broadcast now, 9 out of 10 topics are based on the over, the under, the odds, the chances of making the Grey Cup, all of these things. You hear nothing but sports betting numbers all game long. And that was something that was pushed under, Stuart Johnson's tenure with TSN. So it makes you wonder if maybe this is something that, not that he'll be okay with, but I certainly hope not. It would leave a huge question mark in my eyes if he was reinstated.
On the plus side, if it happens, we might have our very first time in a long time R-rated rant that does not involve Steve and a referee.
Should bring that back sometime.
Oh, Al Bradbury.
Really quick, the Stampede Bowl. First off, shout out to Zach Caleros for throwing pick sixes to former riders Damon Webb and Derek Moncrief in that one. Should games like this, the Stampede Bowl, become a tradition, and should every team have a signature game like this outside of obviously like the Labor Day Classic, and obviously the Bombers have the Banjo Bowl?
Well, I'm going to go, before the writers get an idea, I'm going to go trademark Piffles Bowl. So they can't try to pull that out. Why not? Like, I understand there's a bunch of, this is dumb. And don't get me wrong, the trophy ceremony was a little over the top. Like when you're firing off confetti at week 4,
regular
5,
season game? Are you
and
kidding me?
it's like-
You're naming an MVP of a regular season game?
That was the part I had the problem with, was naming it MVP.
You can do player of the game. There's nothing wrong with doing player of the game. Calling it MVP seems a little ostentatious.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you want to give a guy a belt buckle for being player of the game, by all means.
Sure.
Cool. Very cool. If you want to do the trophy, whatever. Winnipeg has that stupid trophy and never gives it to the Riders the very few times the Riders want it. That's fine as well. I'm actually very curious if they would have actually given the Bombers the trophy. Bombers would have won.
Oh, the Bombers would have wanted it for sure. 100% they would have been
Willie
"Yo,
Jefferson would have been
want
the
it."
first one grabbing it and running around with it.
Yep.
The thing I loved from this Stampede Bowl was all of the jokes that came afterwards of Zach Caleros in a trophy or a championship or trophy football game. And it was just images of him on the turf. Delightful. Loved it. That alone made this entire Stampede Bowl worth it to me.
But that being said, like, if you're going to kick, and we've said for years, if you want to, like, why haven't the Stampeders kicked off? Because Stampede week starts after. So yeah, do the Thursday night game, have an unofficial kickoff. It obviously did well for their attendance by the sounds of it. So yes, do that. Have a trophy. I don't care. Should every team do it? I don't know. Like, what are you going to do? Like, could Toronto and Hamilton do a QE2 bowl or
highway?
Do the
traffic
like
backed up.
Well, their
Montreal
version
and BC will do the leftover on Labor Day Bowl.
Well, like we just had Belton on talking about the Egg Bowl between Ole Miss and Mississippi State. Like, you have those rivalry games, they have trophies. That's what they do in college football. So it doesn't bug me about doing it. And it's not natural to do it for the Stampede Bowl because it does not necessarily going to be the same people every year. It's going to be Calgary versus opponent X. It's one thing for rivalry. It's another thing for this. And that's why I think the Banjo Bowl is probably a better trophy game than just the random Stampede Bowl. But I understand that we always complain about the league needs to do more things to market itself. And if it fills a house, it fills a house. Give away a trophy for the Obsidian Game Bowl this weekend against the Stamps. I really don't care.
And from all accounts, it sounded like the Stampede Bowl did go over very well in Calgary. The fans, I saw a whole bunch of people that I know in Calgary say that they haven't felt a buzz like that in the stadium for a while. And if that's what it's going to bring, I'm all for it. Stupid presentation, stupid trophies aside, whatever, I don't care. If it gets people in there and gets them excited about football again, to me, that's a big win. And regardless of what I may think about having a meaningless trophy in a regular season game, I want what's best for the game. I want the league to grow. I want fans to show up to games, and that's what needs to happen. So if this is what it takes, do it in every market. Absolutely. Find something that you can do with, doesn't even have to be a rivalry game. It doesn't matter to me. You can make it a rival, just Calgary, Winnipeg. You could do this at the Stampede Bowl every year. I say go for it. If it's gonna, I mean, maybe you don't introduce 9 of them in a single year. That might be overkill. But if you introduce another one next year, then hey, who knows? Maybe it takes off and it becomes a thing, and more people gravitate towards buying tickets to games and tuning in, and ultimately that's what we want.
And it's funny, we sit there and make fun of the whole MVP of the game situation, but then we'll also sit there and watch as the NFL gives out MVPs on Thanksgiving Thursday to their 3 games. A regular season MVP game, I don't think players are going to care much about it 5 minutes after they get their belt buckle or their turkey leg or whatever they get, whatever it happens to be.
Santa robes at Christmas.
Right? Like, it's just something fun. And if you can make it entertaining, that's what matters. Make it something that fans look forward to. I don't care what they do. Just do it.
Oh, all I know is I look forward to Hamilton having the Chang Trophy. I'm never
You're never
going to
let that die. Yeah.
I'm never getting off Timmy Chang.
Oh, you know what's going to say? You know what the trophy's going to stay in Hamilton? It's going to say, respectfully, get bent.
As it should. As it should.
That's an inside joke. Really quick, $1 million out to Roy Lister of New Westminster, BC, with 2 kickoffs returned. I can't believe it took the CFL and TSN 8 minutes to come back and say, oh, yeah, by the way, because 2 kickoffs were returned. That should have been a thing that, I mean,
okay.
Marshall, Ferguson, yeah, okay, well, and you're calling it, you probably don't even realize it. That's fine. But somebody's got to be in his ear saying,
Suits was on that game, was he not? Suits was on that game, right? Is Marshall in Suits?
Was it Suits?
I believe it was Suits. Because today when I was on the sports cage, Suits on, and she's like, I was talking to the producer right away about getting Roy. I'm like, why did... And I'm just thinking they're listening to Suits tell the story, and I'm like, it took you guys like 10 minutes before you brought it up on the air. Like, I don't think you're moving that fast there, Suits.
Woodson was on the 30-yard line. I was like, holy cow, we got $1 million winner.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure I'm not in the game. I'm not calling a game. I don't have the same, mind space as, somebody calling the game, but somebody somewhere, even in the studio, there's got to be a phone call being made being like, yo, we got to at least say something. And then we can figure out what our production is after. But anyway, I could go on about that. I'm not going to, but $1 million, it is possible. So hopefully we see
the question everybody is asking. What about Karen?
Poor Karen.
She still needs her $1 million.
No, she doesn't.
That was such a bad call. We actually brought that clip up on
aside.
the page today. It was so bad call.
And then there was 2 punt return touchdowns in the Ottawa Edmonton game. So it's a good thing they just don't do any kind of kick returns, because they would have been Save on Foods be out a lot of money.
And this is why special teams in the CFL cannot go away. I do not want to see.
The
I do
kicking
not want to see
game,
danger zones. I don't want to
huge.
see safety stuff. I want to see kick returns.
I think it was Juwan Breskison was talking about it on X, about how special teams, you can't take kicking out of the game. You can't do it.
I really hate endless touchbacks in the NFL and the fair catches and just no.
Well, you get stuff like this, right? So moving along, we're running a little bit late here. Let's get to our enemy preview presented by Creasy's Premium Home Leisure Jacuzzi Spas. The Riders and Stamps this upcoming Friday at 7 p.m. Riders rocking the Obsidian jerseys for this one. Should be one hell of an atmosphere. The Stamps 3-1, looking pretty good.
First
Obviously.
place. Who would have
First
called
place is on the
this?
line. Yes.
Who would have called it?
Nobody outside of Cal. Only Ryan Ballantyne.
Yeah, I'd say good old Valentine.
They would have been 4-0, and maybe the Riders would have been 3-1. That's the only difference there. For the Riders, we got to talk injuries. Trevor Harris, he'll be back, taking the number 1 reps again. So obviously that's a huge thing going against a defense that just had 2 pick sixes against Winnipeg, right? So having your starting quarterback and not making those throws is going to be a huge one for the Riders.
Trevor Harris's return cannot be understated enough. I know Belton Johnson was a little bit, on the fence on where the Riders will go with Jake Mayer, but this team lives and dies with Trevor Harris at quarterback. You need him healthy. And hearing him talk about how he went back in post-concussion and he wasn't quite sure if if it was illness or concussion, was a little concerning, but glad he got the bye week and is coming back healthy after a nice 2-week vacation.
And that's what we talked about is like if you're not sure, you there's no reason to play him last game. Like just go into the bye week, keep him healthy. We need him in November. Let's see what Jake Merritt can do. And then we saw what Jake Merritt can do, and we want Trevor Harris back. So let's just move on from there.
We need the Alex's right ding.
No, we really don't.
Just what was it Captain Holt from Brooklyn Nine-Nine? Vindication.
Thank you
Sam
both for
Ellis.
introducing me to that show, by the way.
Oh,
you're
It was
welcome.
Great.
Yeah. One of the good things to ever happen in Winnipeg was showing
CFL
Steve
week,
Brooklyn
yeah.
Nine-Nine. Yeah.
Is that before or after the
Arguments
brief
about
fight?
that was before.
Before.
Okay.
Yeah.
We were on non-speaking terms after that. Sam Emelis was on the field Monday. Super limited. Did not practice Tuesday. Probably gearing up to hopefully play next week instead. Sean Bain Jr. Same kind of thing. Was on the field. Didn't do any reps with the ones or anything. So he's still probably a couple weeks away. But receiving core looking like they can get a couple guys back in the next few weeks. Offensive line, Trayvon Tate, that's the big one. Arm in a sling. The Riders ended up signing Nick Jones back. He was one of the final cuts in training camp and started a bunch of games at guard last year. I think he was in the starting at guard in the playoff game last
He's in
year.
playoffs, yeah.
But started, I think it was 6 games maybe last year.
Yeah, it was a handful. Yeah, at least
Something like that. Zach Fry is going to be the starter at left guard in for Trayvon Tate. So that does flip the ratio a little bit for this one.
But then we lose it.
That opens thing up for
Kadeem Carey.
I was gonna say that opens things up for Kadeem. Yep.
And Kadeem Carey looks like he's going to get back on the roster because Thomas Bertrand Hudon is doubtful, probably won't play. So there's your backup running back coming in. So, and to me, this might be more of a revenge game I know he's had games against Calgary from his time in Toronto, but man, he did not have choice words for Calgary last year when he was with the Argos. So I'm looking forward to seeing him hopefully get a few more carries than he did the last time that we saw him. But I think it's the run game is going to have to be huge again. We saw Ben Belton was talking about it, especially with another change on the offensive line. Theoretically, it's supposed to be easier to run block than pass block. So if that's going to be something that we see, and Zach Fry was in last week when AJ Ouellette was running crazy. So we know that he can run block clearly.
Well, and Calgary's averaging over 100 yards a game rush against, so they're not handling it well. Like BC's the worst, Toronto's after that, and Calgary is third. So if the Riders want to put up rushing yards, this could be a game they want to do it.
So and be patient with the running game is one thing that I've seen them, and I think that's been the key to AJ Ouellette is just the patience that he's had on his runs. He's not trying to break through the line right away. He's following the blocks, and we've seen, and Belton talked about it, the receivers blocking as well too. They're all buying into the schemes that they're running. So if we can have patience from both AJ and Kadeem Carey running the ball, I like our chances just having success running the ball. And then obviously with the Trevor Harris back, the quick reads and stuff that he can do as well too. So I'm not too worried with the injuries, especially on the O-line because we have Edwin Harrison as our O-line coach. So, I mean, Belton Johnson could probably step in right now and start a couple games and do really good.
With his hip replacement.
Yeah. As long as Edwin Harrison's the coach, I'd be pretty confident in that, honestly.
I'm legitimately surprised somebody out in Rider Nation doesn't have an "In Edwin We Trust" tattoo at this point. There's enough crazies out there. It's coming.
I've been saving up for a tattoo, so maybe I could be that guy.
Crush your chest. And actually, I didn't realize this until I looked at the stats. Riders are actually leading the league in rushing yards right now.
Yep.
So
that is both surprising and not at all surprising at the same time.
It's a low key thing. Like everyone's like, oh, the Riders have no rush game, and this year for some reason we got the best rush game in the league right now. And
honestly, Calgary's had a lot of success running the ball as well too. So I think that'll be a big key for the Riders is stopping the run game. So Dedrick Mills, is he second to AJ in rushing yards?
He's second to Willette. They're second in rushing yards, although they are first in rushing attempts. So that's probably not hurting him either, though.
Well, and Vernon Adams can tuck it and run as well too. So
that too, yeah.
And the Riders got burned by James Butler last week. He had himself one heck of a game, especially in the second half.
Yeah,
running the ball. So that I think there will be a focus on stopping the run. But it'll be interesting to see the defensive secondary with Antoine Brooks Jr. getting the start at cornerback. Tavon Campbell got hurt last game, and sounds like he's not going to be good to go for this one. So Antoine Brooks had that really nice interception in that game against BC. We'll get his start, and I know everybody's been high on him for the last year and a half. So here's a chance for him to really show what he's got.
If he can keep making plays like that, I am all for him seeing the field as often as possible. That is still one of the best interceptions I've seen in a long while.
One of the things I look forward to every time after the game now is when they do the game balls and the coaches' speeches. No coaches' speech last week, so you got to think there's a lot of curses in there that they decided not to put out because that's a lot of editing. But the fact remains is when they're doing game balls and they gave it to Tavon Campbell, 2 weeks ago, they pointed out Antoine and his play, and you can tell this team is playing for each other right now. This team is feeling it. They feel good. Everyone is competing. Everyone is contributing. And so I'm not worried about Brooks out there this week. It should be interesting.
Should be one heck of a game on Friday. Again, we mentioned it, first place on the line, and who would have thought that with Calgary right off the bat. So should be, I mean, it's going to be the Riders' toughest test coming up off after the bye with their quarterback coming back after concussion. So,
and let's be honest, the Riders' record after bye weeks is never good.
Every other team seems to do good with a week of rest. The Riders
are the worst. There's like, oh, game time was what time? Oh, why am I dressed already? That's the way it feels half the time. Like they get so far behind and they play catch up the rest of the way.
I meant to go back and look at our post bye week stats and then decided that it was better for my mental health to not think about that.
Yeah.
And the chance to go 5-0 doesn't happen very often here in Riderville. Thanks to Rob Vanstone for pointing this out. 5-0 has only happened twice for the Riders, which is mind-blowing, but also not surprising whatsoever, given the team's long history. 2008, we talked about Marcus Crandall, 6-0. And then 2013 was the last time they started 5-0.
I like that year.
That was a pretty good year.
It was an okay year.
The only surprising thing to stat-wise for me is that both of those things happened in this millennium, that we didn't do it at least once in the Ronnie and George era, or like the fact that it didn't happen at all until 2008
when did you expect
is...
How long have you been a fan? When did you expect it?
It took Nealon a while to get going in games, but once he got going, like 4 or 5 weeks in, then he was okay.
I keep on saying that era is the best era in Rider history, bar none. I don't care if you want to talk about George and Ronnie. That was great for the franchise. 2007 to 2015, 2014, I guess, is the best. Not 2015. 2011, and the canceled season 2011 doesn't count either. Fact remains.
He acknowledged it.
I acknowledge nothing. This is not Roman Reigns. I acknowledge nothing.
Does that make Greg Marshall your tribal chief?
he's the Solo Sikoa of rider coaches. If you want to go back to legacy, the Manu. Anyway,
wow.
We got wrestling in, but no Simpsons references yet.
I threw one in there.
Did you? Oh, you did too.
Yeah. I did one earlier.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Anyway, should be a beautiful night at Mosaic on Friday night, 7:00. Obsidian jerseys. Team, they're unbeaten wearing those Obsidians. Just saying.
2 games they've won.
Still, point remains.
I want to talk about the little touches. They've already got the Obsidian logo above the entrance. So that logo on their new entrance they built changes every time.
Yeah.
So come Labor Day, we're going to get the retro logo on there.
So they had the Indigenous logo last home game as well too. So yeah,
I just assumed that was just the face they changed on the regular logo, but the fact remains is they could change it out to the Obsidian logo. Means it's not. So it's the little things in the presentation. They're getting it. They're finally getting it.
Well, one more thing to do here before we go, and that is to make fun of Steve.
Steve's favorite part.
Winning everybody else money by picking the exact opposite of Steve. It's time for Piffles Picks.
Piffles Picks.
Well, folks, when you're right 52% of the time, you're wrong 48% of the time.
I had a terrible week last week going 2-2. So, Steve, I can only imagine how you're feeling. The last game you got right was the Riders winning in Toronto. Since then, you've gotten 10 straight games wrong, which is impressive because you got it. What?
I should win by default for how bad I am at picking against the spread. 6-14 is phenomenal.
Yeah, we'll go with phenomenal.
Yeah, well, yeah. If you don't read the dictionary, sure, that is definitely phenomenal.
I would say that going 16-4 is phenomenal, but that's just me talking.
I'm easing my way into that 52%. Like I'm building myself up.
You're
I'm
so
start
close.
picking. I'm going to start picking with Steve to get it right where I need to be.
There you
Nice,
go.
I'm going to go on a
easy.
run. Just you watch. It's starting this week. I've got a trick up my sleeve.
You're going to follow Alex on every pick you make?
Literally pick everything that I will. I do have all mine written down already. I don't even know what the spreads are. I already have my pick.
I saw that in the document. I'm like, oh, Alex is
Did I put it
feeling
in there?
it.
Yeah, it's already in there. Yeah, I know what I'm taking.
Alex is feeling it. All right.
I will say, and one more thing, with my 16-4 record, which is better than all the CFL writers, might I add, by a couple
is,
games,
actually.
by
It
2
is.
games. over
And they're only
Matt
picking winners. They're only picking straight winners. We're going against the spread.
We're doing spreads. 3 of my 4 losses are the 3 Stampeder wins.
Yes, they are.
So I'm actually a little bit conflicted this week because every time I pick against Calgary, they win, and I don't like that. But I will never pick Calgary. So
ABC, baby.
damn it. Don't know what to do. Anyway, only 3 games this week with 3 teams on the bye. So we start this week on the Friday night, the Obsidian game, Calgary at Saskatchewan. I'll take a stab on this one. I think the Riders will be favored by 3.5.
Stole mine, so I'll go 4.5.
I think we're all in the Riders. I assume we're all in the Riders in this one.
We're going to hold off here for a second. We all went to that lovely event preseason, and we sat there wondering what use would we have for the season ticket member gift. I have found my use.
The flip the coin. Oh,
Obsidian is home. And the Rider logo is the visiting team. I'm going to see if Random Chance is better at CFL Pick'em than I am. And
I cannot wait
to be worse.
Throw that thing into Wascana Lake after the season.
This is not. What did I say? The home logo or the logo was
Obsidian
the
was the
visiting
Riders.
Obsidian was home. Other logo is he's on Calgary.
team? Calgary. I'm taking Random Chance.
hilarious.
However she flows.
I love it.
This might be the rest of the season for me. I'm 0-10, guys. I got to do something.
Ottawa at Hamilton on Saturday.
Oh, Hamilton by 36. 5.5.
I will go 6.5 for Hamilton.
4.5.
That's it, hey?
That's an easy Hamilton. That's an easy Hamilton. And Steve, here comes the coin for Ottawa.
God damn it.
Yes.
Oh, all right. I already had it in there, Hamilton, but the coin doesn't lie. So I'll
Yeah.
pick the opposite of the coin. I got Hamilton. And the
This
final
is
one,
ridiculous.
and the and the final one, BC at Edmonton.
Ooh, the
I'll-
battle of why.
I'll guess BC by 1.5.
2.5.
3.5.
No, I was gonna switch it and go Edmonton, but yeah, no. All right.
Well, I have BC picked.
I'm on the chalk BC as well.
Oh,
Edmonton.
well,
Oh, he's all away. He's BC on this one.
Okay, so I will switch my
visitors across
I was
the
gonna say,
board.
can we switch to Edmonton now? I'm gonna
When I
laugh
go
so hard you
0-3,
You go 0-3 by chance. That's gonna be amazing.
I just hope you go 0-1 to start. That's the only one that matters.
yeah, because there's no way. Well, no, if the Riders win by a field goal, I'll be thrilled.
I hope
Doesn't
it's
that
not
count?
that close.
It better not be that close. I'm not white knuckling through that game. I'm not.
You know what? It's
How long have you been a fan, Greg?
I don't want to white knuckle through that game. Is that better?
we've seen my pick'em odds. The Riders are winning by 30.
Love it. I hope so. That'll be fun.
I was not mad to see Calgary on that flip because when I go 0-3 this week, I'm just gonna give up at that point. When random chance can't get me a win, it's over.
And with that, the show is over. There's our picks for this week. And I hope you enjoyed the chat with Belton Johnson. Piffles Podcast is brought to you by our great friends at Dairy Queen on Elphinstone Street and Sass Drive in Regina. Special thanks as well, of course, go to Kathy Festian of Royal LePage Next Level, Churchill Brewing Company, District 306, Regina's Tactical Laser Tag Experience, Bigfoot Vodka, and Creasy's Premium Home Leisure Jacuzzi Spas for their support, making this show possible. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching on YouTube or SaskTel Max TV on demand. See you at the game on Friday. Go Riders, go.
Thank you for being such a big supporter and fan of the CFL and myself personally.